I wake up during surgery and the doctors were arguing about whether to continue. The first thing I felt was pressure. Not pain, not yet, just this deep, wrong pressure in my abdomen like someone was rearranging furniture inside me. Then came two boys. We need to stop now. We are already in. If we will stop, look at the monitor. Look at it. I couldn't move, couldn't open my eyes, couldn't scream, but I was awake. Fully horrifyingly awake. And two doctors were arguing about my open body about whether to keep cutting. The pressure shifted. Something tugged. My brain escaped at my limbs to move to do anything. But I was a passenger in my own paralyzed body. The anesthesia had failed partially. True, and I was trapped inside the nightmare. I would sign a waiver promising would not happen. Her BPS dropping, then stabilizer her. I'm trying, but if you don't stop 5 more minutes, that's all I need. That's when I realized this was not a routine complication. This was a fight and I was the hostage. I had been having pain in my right side for 8 months before I finally agreed to the surgery. Not constant pain, just this nagging, stabling sensation that came and go, usually after 8. My primary care doctor, Dr. Patel, thought it might be my gallbladder. An ultrasound confirmed it. The stones, 3 of them. She referred me to a surgeon, Dr. Gregory Hand. I googled him. Obviously, everyone does. His practice offset showed a middle-aged white guy with green pimples and a reassuring smile, board certified, 22 years of experience, 5-star reviewed on health grades. The clinic was called Summit Surgical Associates, located in a sleek glass building near the hospital. Everything looked legitimate, professional, safe. My consultation lasted 12 minutes. Dr. Hen barely looked at me. He scrolled through my chart on his tablet, read twice and said, "The proper sticks routine. We will be home same day." Any questions? I asked if there were risks. "Minimal," he said. "Bleeding, infection, anesthesia, complications all extremely are. You are young and healthy. You will be fine." He scheduled me for 3 weeks out, October 14th, a Tuesday. I took the day off work, arranged for my roommate, Julie, to pick me up after. I tried not to think about the fact that strangers would be cutting into me while I was unconscious. I should have thought about it more. The morning of the surgery, I arrived at Summit Surgical Center at 6:30 am. It was not a hospital, it was an outpatient facility, which Dr. Hand, skilled had explained was more convenient and less expensive. The waiting room had abstract art on the walls and a coffee station. It felt more like a spa than a medical center. I filled out forms, signed consent. A nurse named Brenda took my vitals and started an IV in my left hand. She was warm, chatty, asked about my weekend. I started to relax. Then the anesthesiologist came in, Dr. Paul Bickers, late 50s. Thin frame glasses, tired eyes. He introduced himself quickly, asked if I had any allergies or previous reaction to anesthesia. I said no. He explained the process. You will go to sleep, wake up in recovery when remember acting, and had me sign another form. Any question? He asked. Only halfway out the door, will I feel anything? No, he said, flirting. You'll be completely unconscious. He left Brenda, wheeled me into the pre-op area, a certain space where I waited for 20 minutes in a thin gown and surgical cap. I heard their other patient beyond the curtains murmured conversation, the TV of monitors. I text Julie going on soon. See you on the other side. She sent back a gift of a thumbs up at 7:58 am. 2 surgical techs came to get me. They rolled my urine through double doors into the operating room. Bright lights, steel tables, machines I did not recognize. Dr. Hen was already there, gown and glove, talking to someone I could not see. "All right," Dr. Pickard said from somewhere behind my head. "I'm going to give you something to relax." Could not backward from 10 I got to 7. I don't know how long I was under. The first flicker of awareness came a sound muffled, distant like hearing voices underwater. Then the pressure started, a dull insistent weight low in my abdomen. I tried to move my fingers. Nothing. Tried to open my eyes. Nothing. Panic hit me like ice water. I was awake. Not responding the way she should. She is fine. BPS stable. It's not stable, Greg. It's 19/60. That's not fine. Then give her more fluids. I already did. The voice sharpened, became real. I was not dreaming this. It was an operating table cut open and could hear everything. The pressure shifted, tugged. Something inside me moved, and I felt it not too sharp pain but deep, visceral wrongness. My brain screamed. My body stayed frozen. I need another 5 minutes. Dr. Hans said, "You don't have 5 minutes." Look at the government monitor. That was Dr. Vikas. His voice was tight, scared. I'm almost done. You are not almost done. You are barely halfway through. Silence. Then Dr. Han, if I stop now, she will need another surgery. Maybe open. You want to explain that to her. If you don't stop now, she might not make it to another surgery. My mind went white. Not make it. He said not make it. I tried to scream, tried to move. My body was a tomb. The only thing I could feel was the pressure and now creeping in from the edge. Something sharper, pain faint but building. Her heart rates climbing, Dr. Beaker said. Then adjust the anesthesia. I can't adjust it any higher without risking cardiac arrest. Another silence. Then Dr. Hen quieter. 5 minutes. That's all I need. Wake for 5 minutes. The dragging continued. I have no idea how long it lasted. Time did not exist. There was only the pressure, the voices, the mounting horror that I was aware that some part of the anesthesia had failed and no one knew. Or they knew and did not care. At some point, the pain sharpened, a hot tearing sensation deep in my side. I wanted to vomit, wanted to cry, wanted to die just to make it stop. She's taken it. Almost done. You said that 10 minutes ago, almost done. Then finally closing. The pressure eased. The tugging stopped. I heard the clicking of instruments. The rustle of movement. Relief flooded me so hard I thought I might pass out again, which was insane because I was supposed to be passed out. It was stabilizing. And just squeezed. She told you she would fine. Dr. Hans' voice was smart, causal, like he don't just gamble with my life. I felt something cold on my skin. Alcohol wipes, maybe then the tug of stitches. My consciousness started to blur. The anesthesia was catching up, pulling me back under. The last thing I heard was Dr. Vickers, low and furious. You are a reckless bastard. Then nothing. I woke up in a recovery 2 hours later. Brenda was there checking my IV. She smiled when I opened my eyes. There you are. Where? How are you feeling? I tried to speak. My throat was raw from the breathing tube. I wake up. She frowned. What? During surgery? I wake up. Her smile faltered. That's not possible, honey. You were under general anesthesia. I heard them. I croaked. They were arguing. Dr. Hen and the other one. Because Brenda's face went carefully blank. Let me get the doctor. She left. I lay there shaking. My abdomen throbbed. My mind replayed it. The voices, the pressure, the terror of being trapped inside my own paralyzed body. I wasn't making it up. I was not confused. I had happened. Dr. Han came in 10 minutes later. How are we feeling? He asked bright and professional. I wake up. I said during the surgery I heard you arguing. His expression did not change. There's a common post-anesthesia hallucination. Patients something experience auditory pneumonia as they are coming out of sedation. It was very real. But I assumed you were fully unconscious the entire time. I heard you. I insisted. You and Dr. Vickers, you said you needed 5 more times. He said my blood pressure was dropping. Something flickered in his eyes just for a second. That's not what happened, he said calmly. The surgery went perfectly. You are going to be just fine. We left before I could respond. Julie picked me at 2 p.m. I was groggy, nauseous, and terrified. I told her everything on the drive home. Holy, she said, there's malpractice. He said I hallucinated it. Did you? I said out the window. No, that night I could not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I was back on the table, paralyzed and screaming inside my own head. I googled anesthesia awareness, find articles, studies, support forums. It was real, rare, occurring in about 1 in 19,000 surgeries, but real. And it was a nightmare. Patient described the exact thing I would experienced. Waking during surgery, unable to move or speak, feeling pressure or pain, hearing conversation, some developed PTSD. Some never had surgery again. I found a forum thread from a woman who'd sued her surgical team. Should on at 3:47 am. I sent an email to Summit Surgical Center requesting my complete medical records. The records arrived 6 days later. I sat at my kitchen table with Julie and read through them page by page. Most of it was technical jargon. Brief notes, surgical consent forms, anesthesia logs, but buried and middle was the interpretive record. Dr. Vickers had documented everything. Time 8:14, anesthesia introduced, patient unresponsive. Time 8:22, surgery commenced. Time 8:41, BP dropped to 88/58, increased IV in fluids. Time 8:50, patient tachycardia. HR 118, discussed with surgeon. Time 8:53, BP 85/55, strongly advised stopping Procedure. Time 8:55. Sergeant declined continued closer. Time 9:02. Beetle stabilizing. Julie pointed at screen. He documented 8. Because literally wrote that he told Hen to stop and Hen refused. But there's nothing about me waking up. I said because he did not know you were awake. But this proves your blood pressure dropped dangerously low and Hen kept going anyway. I felt sick. You need a lawyer, Julie said. I called the medical malpractice attorneys before one agreed to consultation. Her name was Angel Nerno. She would been practicing for 19 years and specialized in surgical negotiations cases. We met in her office on the Thursday afternoon. I brought my medical records, my written account of the surgery and the timeline I would created of everything that had happened. Angela read through it all in silence. Then she looked up. This is bad, she said, for me or for them. Both she leaned back. Anesthesia awareness is extremely difficult to prove. It's your word against theirs. And defense attorneys will argue you are confused, dreaming, or misremembering, but they should tape in the anesthesia log. This is documented evidence of unsafe conditions during surgery. Vickers warned Hen. Hen ignored him. There's negligence. Can I use? Yes, but I will be honest with you. These cases are hard, expensive, emotionally brutal. The defense will try to describe you. You will be deposed, cross-examined. They will dig into your medical story, your mental health, your credibility. I don't care. I said I need them to admit what happened. English told me, all right, let me make some calls. About the next 3 weeks, Ingela built the case. She hired a medical expert, Dr. Leonard Chu, an anesthetist with 31 years experience, to review my records. His report was damning. He concluded that Dr. Vickers had act appropriately by monitoring my vitals and advising Dr. Hen to stop, but that Dr. Han's decision to continue despite dangerously low blood pressure constituted reckless disregard of patient safety. Dr. Cho also noted something I had not caught. The anesthesia dosage log showed an irregularity at 8:19 am. Significantly lower than standard protocol. This could explain the awareness. Angela said it Vickers understood you. Even slightly, even it might have caused partial consciousness. Why would we do that? Maybe he did not. Maybe it was an equipment manufacturer. Or maybe she hesitated. Maybe he was distracted. She filed a formal complaint with the state medical board against both Dr. Hen and Dr. Vickers. Then she sent a demand letter to Summit Surgical Center and the insurance carrier were outlining the negotiations and requesting a settlement. They responded 2 weeks later. The attorney, a man named Robert Kyan, denied all allegations. He claimed I would be fully anesthetized, that the surgery had been routine, and that any distress experienced was psychological, not physical. He included a statement from Dr. Hen. The patient was never in danger. Her vitals remained within acceptable range throughout the procedure. Any claim of waking up is inconsistent with the documented anesthesia administration. Angela called me after she did it. They are going to fight this. She said the deposition was scheduled for January 9th. I sat in a conference room across from Robert Killian, a court reporter, and Angela. Dr. Hen was not there. He would be deposited separately, but his presence hung over the room like a thread. Killian was polished, methodical. He asked me to describe the surgery in detail. Every word I would hear, every sensation, every moment, I told him. He took notes. Then he leaned forward. Miss Harper, have you ever experienced anxiety or panic attacks? What is that? Please answer the question. Sometimes in stressful situations. Have you ever taken medication for anxiety? Yes, Jolaford. For 2 months in college. He wrote that down. Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health conditions? Angela Cartin, that's irrelevant. It's relevant to her credibility. She's not on trial if she's claiming psychological trauma. I felt my hands shaking under the table. This was exactly what Angela had warned me about. They were going to paint me as unstable, unreliable, a liar. Killian asked for 3 more questions by the end. I was exhausted. One last thing, he said. It would be stated you heard Dr. Hen say 5 more minutes. Are you certain those were his exact words? Yes, and you were certain it was not a dream or a memory concept after the fact. I'm certain. He closed his folder. Thank you. Miss Harper, 2 weeks later, Angela called. We got something. Should sub-open the surgical sense internal communications, including emails and text messages between staff. But in the records was an email from Brenda, the pre-op nurse, sent 3 days after my surgery. It was addressed to the facility risk management director. Subject: incident report. Patient Harper. Dr. Bickers expressed concern to me. Post-op regarding patient vital during procedure. He stated he is by Dr. Hand to stop due to BP instability but was overrated. Patient later reported authority awareness. Recommend review. The new England said Brenda documented it internally and they built it. What does that mean? It means we have evidence of institutional knowledge. They were aware of potential complication and chose not to investigate or inform you. She paused. We are going to win this. The settlement of came in March $3,400 and included a non-disclosure agreement, no administration of wrongdoing, and a clause stating I will not pursue further legal action or speak publicly about the case. I sat in Engel's office starting at the number. That's a strong offer. She said most anesthesia awareness cases settle for much less if they settle at all. They're paying me to shut up. Yes, I thought about it, about the sleepless nights. The panic starts every time I smell anesthetic. The way I couldn't watch medical dramas anymore without feeling my chest tighten. Then I thought about Dr. Hen still operating, still cutting into people, still deciding their lives were worthless than his schedule. No, I said, envelope blanket. No, I want them to admit it. I wanted to record. I wanted on record. If you go to trial, you could see I know. She studied me for a long moment, then she smiled. All right, let's go to trial. We did not go to trial. 2 days after I rejected the settlement, the state medical board completed their investigation. They found Dr. Hen guilty of professional misconduct for continuing surgery despite documented warning from his anesthesiologist. His medical license here was suspended for 6 months. He was required to complete pre-medical training and patient safety protocols and would be under professional review for 2 years. Dr. Vickers was cleared for wrongdoing but issued a formal repayment for the anesthesia dosage irregularity. Summit Surgical Center was fined $75,000 and required to implement new safety oversight procedures, and the board's findings were made public. English sent me the report with an online email. You did it. The local news picked up the story. Surgical center fined after patient wakes during procedure run in Mentor Gazette. The Medical Ethics podcast covered it. A sufficient patient safety advocacy group reached out asking me to speak at their annual conference. Dr. Hans practice lost hospital privilege at 2 facilities. Google reviews tanked. Last I checked, Summit Surgical Associates had quietly rebranded under new management. I did not get the admission I wanted, not from him. Anyway, but I got something better. I got proof. It's been 11 months since the surgery. I still have the scar. A thin pill line just below my rib cage. I still have nightmares sometimes, but I also have the medical board's report framed in my apartment. Proof that I was not crazy, was not lying, was not confused. I was awake, and now everyone knows. If you made it this far, thank you.